Well, it finally happened. It got cold, as you can see. Frost happened. And it's supposed to get, I don't know, when the water's off, I feel like I have to whisper out here, which I know is ridiculous, but it's not really ridiculous. Everybody can hear me. As I was saying, and it's not just like a little bit cold. We have a low coming up of 13 degrees. What? 13? I don't recall it ever being that cold in November before. It might be December 1st by the time that cold happens. I don't know. I'm not keeping track of the dates. But that means I have a lot to do and absolutely no time to do it. It's a holiday week. There's a lot going on. So I guess what I need to focus on is I got to move everything else inside. Last week's video, I moved all the tropicals in. I was like, hey, I should be good till January, because that's usually when we have the next round of cold that comes through, the type of cold that makes it so that I have to move in the mule palms and the windmill palms and the hardy tropicals that aren't hardy enough to stay outside all year. But 13 degrees, I don't want to leave the mule palms out and that. Even the windmill palms, they're in containers. I don't think that'd be good for them. An oleander back there, that should probably come in. Pindo, yeah, I'm not leaving that out here, not 13 degrees. Even though it's just going to be for like one day. If there's going to be a low, I think, of like 19 and then 13 and then 20, it's supposed to be in the 20s for several nights. I would imagine it's going to warm up for several days or for several weeks probably after that and be back into the 40s and 50s. But, you know, 13, that's going to do some damage. So you can see I've already started to get some work done in here. Came in, started chopping up bananas. Gonna work on the cannas, get those bananas down. I do think that I should focus first on, I should dig up those alocaceas up there. I cut their foliage off. It's all chopped up down there, and I need to just grab a shovel and make sure that those are dug up by Saturday. I don't know how much of what's even going to be happening in the vlog, because there's not a lot of time to even do this and film it. And I still have stuff to do in the grow space. So the heater... Oh, and hey, what's up, garden friends? Jeff here. How's everybody doing? You're doing well. I'm great. Frazzled, but great. You ready to go inside already, Turbs? That didn't take long. You just got out here. You good boy. Let's just go back in the grow space. Finish talking about this. I need to do some more explaining. Oh, but real quick. Look, new light fixture. Final light fixture. This room's done. First room done. Finally. Oh, hey, Pumpkin. You stopping by to say hi? So nice to see you. Such a cute pumpkin. Gonna go. Okay, good. Fans are working. So, where I left off last week, moved a whole bunch of plants, the majority, really all of the tropicals, into the grow space, and it just had to pile them up because I was waiting for the new heater to get installed, which just got done yesterday. It just got done. It was supposed to be installed the day after I finished filming the video, but something came up. The electricians couldn't make it out. They had an emergency. It was a very understandable circumstance. So a few days passed, like 5 days passed. It did get pretty cold in here at one point. I think I got down to like 39. It's pretty chilly, but not enough to really kill anything, right? Everything's fine. I was more concerned about the fish, the lizard. He went inside and has heat lamps. The new heater's great. Hopefully it's going to last longer than the old one, especially because I'm not using the same system to humidify things in here anymore, so I don't think it's going to destroy it. So it's nice and toasty in here. Well-ish. It feels pretty good compared to outside, but, you know, it's going to take like a day to really warm things back up in here because it got pretty cold. The ground's cold. That's most of what happens. Once the concrete and the water gets cold, it takes longer to warm things up. What was my point here? Oh yeah, so I have all these other plants to move inside, piles of recycling from the light fixtures and stuff going on in the house, and I still have these plants over here that I haven't placed yet. This poor Areca palm has been sitting on this cart for 6 days now because I couldn't put it over here because the electricians, you know, it's only right, they should have a path to be able to get around things. So that Areca palm needs to get moved over here, and you're looking kind of funny. You okay? All right, good. It's not squishy. And then I have the Thai constellation sprawled out all over the ground over here on this side of the garage. And this side of the garage is where the cold hardy things go. So when I need to move in the windmill palms, the mule palms, all those things, those go right here. But right here is occupied. There's no room for anything. So I got some stuff to do. Yeah, there's the Thai. It's over there. It's over there now. I got to figure something out with that. So before I can even move anything from outside to inside, I need to get to doing some arranging in here, and it's gonna get pretty crowded because I gotta move it all in, like the Fatsias, all my little Sable Minor seedlings, everything. 13 degrees, it would just be devastating to those plants. I always get people who say windmill palms and pindus, they can take it that cold. Yeah, okay, maybe, but it's been in the 60s and 70s. So when you're going from these nice mild temperatures to just boom, 13 degrees, it can be devastating to the plants. So they need to come in. So that's where everything is right now. That's what's going on. Just another fun week of chaos. Yay. I need to move this Dracaena inside, but I think I'm going to hold off because the kitten, I don't know if you'll remember, a while back I got a beautiful ponytail palm, and well, it's dead now. The kitten turned it into a pole. Like, she was just always, I couldn't keep her off the trunk constantly. I tried doing the thing where you put the foil in the pot and did pine cones, did all kinds of stuff. She was like, no, I'm just going to jump over that. She didn't care. And she killed it. I should have just moved it outside or something. I didn't know that it was going to die from her doing that, or else I would have moved it. But here we are, it's dead. So I'm hesitant to move the Dracaena inside. But I guess for now, I mean, it can just go somewhere else. That's the whole point. I just need to move everything. I ended up bringing in more tropicals. So last week when I ended the video, I said that there are some things I might move in, but I don't know yet. Like the dichondra baskets and then all these gigantic bromeliads. I figured, hey, why not? I got ahead of the game, got the plants moved in before we had lots and lots of cold, so I had extra time to go outside and play around with things and decide to move some more stuff in. And well, that didn't work out. I was so proud of myself for being ahead of the game. So I'd have like more leisure time to just slowly pull and pick and decide the other things to bring inside, and instead we have a 13-degree low hitting us in November. I don't know, what the heck is that about? This is January stuff. Have I ever? No, I don't know. I've never had to do this in November. This is stupid. So, main priorities. Now that we're all caught up on everything, I need to get the rest of the tropicals that are in here pulled back this way. Anything that likes a lot of heat needs to be closer to the wall here. That's where the heater is. And the plants more tolerant of cold, I like to keep those closer to the exit because those are plants that can get moved back outside before everything else. And then I have to have that spot cleaned up to get the mule palms, windmills, all those things stacked away and put over there. And I got to dig up those alocasias. I have to do it. I don't have to. I could buy new ones next year for like $20, but they got so big and beautiful, I may as well dig them up and pot them up and try and keep them going. Like, they're not going to be... We'll talk about it if I do it. Well, I had planned on bringing y'all along for more of the work, but it just didn't work out that way. Pool companies showed up, and I don't know if you noticed when I was outside, the water was all drained down. I had contacted them and said, hey, you guys want to come out early and cover up the pool? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. And they're like, yeah, because the day they were supposed to come, it was gonna be like 16 degrees. I don't think they'd want to be outside closing pool at 16 degrees. And it's also, you know, not great to have water in the pipes and everything with that kind of a cold, even with the heater going. So was dealing with that. And then I had to do some work while they were here. So I got the tie moved. So if you don't know, you probably don't, because it's really hard to get a good shot of this last week when I moved this Monstera in. This had come off of its pole and it was running down on the ground to about like right here-ish. And I had the Areca palm on this cart over here pushed in at an angle right around it. So I had to get in here with my foot and use my chest to push it up and got it tied up. So, yeah, that looks better. Set some of the bromeliads down. I need to prune this bougainvillea here because it's got its thorns right out in the danger zone. That's going to get someone. A couple more bromeliads over here. Dracaena, scoot it back, and the Areca palm. This is what took the longest because it's gotten pretty big. And I'd say it still fits. It's not a great fit, but that's about the same as it was last year. It's hit a size where it's not growing as quickly, and its rings are getting closer together because it's getting taller and reaching for this, or not reaching for the sun as much. That's what I meant to say. I did a lot of pruning on this when I had it down on the cart. All the canopy was down low where I could get to it. So it seemed like an opportune time to get in there and thin some things out. I like to have it more open during the winter time. Just easier for pest management. Much easier for pest management. You don't have as much going on for the critters to crawl around. Are you ready to go? Well, not really, but I'm taking it off anyways. I thought it was going to snap right off. You really shouldn't do it like that. Sometimes I do like to pull them somewhat prematurely though, so I can have a look on the inside. That's where the mealybugs like to hide. Don't see anything in there. I have my alcohol here. So I've been spraying whenever I see them and then wiping them off. One of the dichondra just sitting over there. Isn't really ideal, but it's fine for right now. Another one on the ground over here. I need to unwrap those and get them hung up there on those poles. Oh, I've been trying to figure out why this grow light wasn't on. It's because it got switched off. I didn't do that. Don't know why it was switched off. It's so dark over there. Now I know why. That's always good. One less thing to have to worry about. I was thinking that that grow light that I just set up last week was... something was wrong with it. That's what I was trying to say. I'm so flustered. There's so much going on right now. It's also the holiday, so gotta do all the Thanksgiving stuff that's happening. And my family, we do Thanksgiving typically the day after Thanksgiving. So that means I will have the day of Thanksgiving off to edit this video and get some work done elsewhere, some other things done. But that also means that I only have the rest of today, which is not much. It's dark out. And tomorrow to do a whole bunch of stuff that I wasn't thinking I was going to be doing this week. I had thought that this week I would have fun placing plants around and do some pruning and some watering and just, you know, have a fun time chilling with the plants. Didn't realize I was going to have to move in everything else. I did what do we call it? An impulse buy? Because I just don't think there's going to be room. I need more time, right? That I have to get this entire side of the garage gutted and cleared out to bring in those plants like the mule palms, butias, windmills, everything we talked about. And I just can't do it right now because I don't have time. I don't have time. I got people who need me for a lot of things. And time is a precious thing that I just don't have much of. So I ordered a greenhouse. It's not like a big fancy anything to get excited about. It is a relatively inexpensive one. I mean, in the world of greenhouses, it's extremely inexpensive. That's supposed to set up quickly and easily. We will see. And most importantly, it will be delivered by Friday. By Friday, this video will be done because I told you I'll have to have this edited before then. So that'll all be in next week's video. It's not going to be big enough to put the I don't think it'll be big enough to put the mule palms in. Maybe. But it's mostly just like to tuck all the little things in. The yuccas, the oleanders, and perennials. You know, I have a lot of carex and things outside. Maybe some of the bamboos. I think it's 8x6 and the height is somewhat adjustable. It's not going to be the most beautiful thing, but it's going to save me a lot of time. Maybe. I really had to weigh that out. I don't want to get plant junk all in my drink. Because I could, in theory, maybe squeeze everything in here, but I have to have a really nice open path in and out of this garage because I have a family member who has some physical impairments. I don't think that's the politically correct way to say it. She doesn't get around so good. So things need to be nice and open. Can't have plants stacked all over the place in here. And I'm only gonna be able to fit so much on the other side of the pond. I just figured give the little greenhouse a shot. It's not anything that's meant for overwintering tropicals, right? It's just something for a few extra degrees of protection. If it were gonna be below 0, I don't know if I would trust it, but it's supposed to be 13. So I would hope that it could add 5 to 10 degrees of protection, hopefully. They say 10 degrees? 10 degrees, that's what I meant to say. Which it should be able to do. I ordered an extra tarp to toss over it. Add some extra insulation. I have some pallets in the driveway that I will use to set the plants on top of so they're not sitting on the ground. Because the ground holds on to some warmth, but I think it'd be better if they're raised up off the ground. And I have some strands of C9 Christmas lights that I'm going to stick inside there just to add some extra heat, but not necessarily keep the whole thing warm. That's not really the goal here. I'm not trying to keep it warm. I just want it to be warmer than 13 degrees, right? Ideally, be able to keep it around 20. I think 20 would be good. That'd be a nice, sweet spot. I'm trying to get this vinca pruned up in here, give that a nice cutback without having it fall into the water. That's why I've been doing things somewhat erratically over here. I don't know how these are even going to overwinter out here. Vinca overwintered just fine in the grow space. It's the dichondra that I'm not sure about. I've never tried keeping dichondra in here before. I could see it maybe being fussy because, well, you know, they don't really like to be all that wet. And it's pretty easy to overwater in here because the airflow and everything's just different. The humidity's higher, which is crazy to say, but this last summer was so bone dry that I did really well with dichondra. They did really, really well. Sometimes when things are really humid, I struggle with them because I'm a heavy-handed waterer. But I'm thinking, you know, they're going to be up and in the air. Should be all right. Can I even get to the pole from here? I mean, not really, but I guess I can try and give this a scoot. Maybe. Nope, that's not happening with one hand. That's fine. I can walk around to the other side. Nothing wrong with that. Like how I said, I didn't want to get plant stuff in my drink, so I set it on the dirty garage floor. So something I've wondered about with this dichondra is, should I cut it back? And that's just typically what I do with most annuals that I try and bring inside. Like if I ever bring in petunias or impatiens, geraniums, usually cut them back by like 50%. But this is just so long and pretty, I don't want to. Ugh. I don't know. I'd be really surprised if there ends up being enough light in here for that dichondra, but I'm not really looking to take on any projects right now and try and add more lighting. That's why I've been wondering if maybe I should just give it a cutback. What I don't want is I don't want it smashed up against other plants. That's not going to be good for it. Wherever it's smashed up against, that's going to end up being kind of bare and not looking good. And really, when you look at it, it looks like it could use a prune. It really just needs a water. Everything needs a water. I need to water. Why no water? Nothing? Oh, I need to. There we go. That's better. Don't know if having a hose nozzle on this is actually that great of an idea because it's pond water, but I put a basket around the sump pump. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Yeah, see that basket? So hopefully that will keep large debris from getting in here and clogging up the hose nozzle. Although I really feel like it's faster to just blast the plants with the water. I think the pressure's not quite strong enough to run things through a nozzle. You know what? That doesn't even matter. It's late. I'm just doing a light drink tonight, and then tomorrow I'm going to have to do some more watering. I just, you know, wanted to wet things down some. Because that's really all that needs to be done right now, is things just need to be wetted down. I know typically, not typically, pretty much always, you want to do a full-blown watering where you fully saturate the soil. But as I mentioned, I think earlier, I'm still trying to get things warmed up in here. So kind of right in between having things heavily soaked and being just like, hey, don't die. I like this flexible nozzle because I can do things with one hand, and if I need to stretch it out, I can just pull on it. It stretches out some more. That's been nice. Up here, make sure the aeroids get a drink. Yeah, you get the picture. Can give everything a little drink, pick up in the morning, and get some stuff done outside. Boogin. Hey, Boogin. Oh, you're so cute. Hanging out up there. Like some kind of rail car. What you doing, Turbo? You got your sweater on? Looking good, Turbs? You're not going to look at me? Oh, there he is. What a handsome boy. Yeah, I know. You're excited. We get to go outside. He saw me put the pants and the shoes on. He knows what's up. I just scoot you just a little scoot. Don't mind me. Just a little scoot. Sorry, Pumpkin. Holy crap. It is freaking cold out here. It's like 33, but That feels pretty cold. I'm not used to 33. So here's the plan, which I don't really have much of. Oh yeah, pool closed. I think I probably mentioned that yesterday. I don't remember. I have the 2 alocasias up here. I've already dug around them, need to lift them, get them into the gorilla cart, which is in the driveway. And then I should go through and start chopping on the bananas, the rest of them, just because it's so much easier to cut them when they're not mushy. They did change the forecast, so they were saying, what was it, 13, and then it went up to 16, and then it went up to 23, and then it went down to 19, now they're saying 22. So essentially, I don't know what's happening, but I have that greenhouse coming tomorrow. So I'm thinking what's going to happen here is this is probably going to be a 2-parter video, because I'm not going to be able to get everything done in time to still be able to edit this, because I told y'all the day before this comes out, I'm doing Thanksgiving with my family, so I got tons of cooking and everything to do, and, well, you know, holiday, family stuff, so I won't be able to edit, so I have to finish up everything for this video today, which is basically just going to be chop some stuff, get those alocasias up and out of the ground. There they are. They had a rough night, but the roots should still be warm enough that they should be okay, and I probably try and get them potted up too, or at least position them someplace where they'll warm up. I think I'm going to need to put these someplace close to the heater for a few days to like kind of snap them out of it and get them growing and moving again. Probably do a fungi. We can talk about all that. We are talking about it, but you know what I mean. Go more into depth on all that when it's time. But my panic level has dropped significantly because it doesn't seem like it's going to get as cold. I mean, it's still pretty cold. You know, 13, concerning. 19, 22, not as worried about that. Basically, I don't start to panic until we are going to drop below 15. So I'm not as worried anymore. Look how good the sables look. Couldn't see those all summer because I planted the impatiens and the elephant ears. Those spread out in front of them, which I hadn't thought about when I put the impatiens there, is that they were going to get really big and block those sable palms. So that's something to remember for next year. I did like the longer swoop that was in here. Are we doing a dead garden tour? Is that what's happening? A tour of the dead garden? You get the point. Now that things are dying back, I can see things better. So that might be something to remember in the spring. I liked having the longer row of impatiens. I usually stop right here with the impatiens, and I took them down further. But that kind of hid some things. Okay. Oh, that's too much of a zoom. That's a little bit better. That was a chore. These things, they're freaking beasts. Monsters. I've kind of blocked myself in here, but you can see it. Now look at the size of these things. Absolutely huge. These are the Borneo giants. And I think they're okay. It's going to take some time to tell. You know, they did take a few frosts. And it got down to 30 or 31 last night, so you can kind of see from the lack of luster, they should be more of a glossy green color, that they could be on the decline, but the roots are okay. They have offshoots on them, so I'm so glad that I dug them up and brought them in. I'm going to need to give these a day to warm up, so again, this is why it's probably going to be a 2-parter. Not probably, definitely. The potting soil, it was sitting outside, so it's freezing cold and also sopping wet. I'm not sure if I even want to use it. Have you ever picked up a bag of potting soil and you could just like tell that it was bad? Like, it just feels like a bag of wet mud. Even when wet, that shouldn't feel like that. I'm gonna grab some copper fungicide here and give the roots a little spray down on this alocasia just to be safe. Just a little something, a little mist. I'll flip them over and get the rest of the root mass, get it down into the crown. That's really important. I'm gonna need to go heavier than this. This is just getting to it. Hopefully, no, that didn't make any sense. What am I trying to say? Oh, because I'm holding the camera. This is more of a demonstration. That's what I'm saying. Need to make sure, get all those roots, get down to the crowns of all these. I'll have them sitting upright. Let that fungicide run down inside of them. And I just gotta warm them up. Poor things are cold. So am I. My hands frozen. I also almost forgot that I wanted to bring this alpinia. So glad that I was out there and saw it. This one, I talked about in all of the garden tours. There's just something special about it. It's got like, it has extra large paddle leaves on it, which is what they should have. But typically, when you buy these potted, usually get them in like a 10-inch container, sometimes smaller than that, they have a really thin little wispy, stupid leaves on them, and it's not until they get to be like 5-6 feet tall that you start to see growths that are really big and thick like this. But this is putting out really thick, chunky growth from the start instead of it having to get much larger and more mature. So I decided to torture myself this winter and bring it in and try and keep it alive. I don't enjoy trying to overwinter the Alpinias in here. I think I've done videos on that before, just talking about some of their demands during the winter. They're just not great houseplants. Things are pretty warm in here, but I don't really know if I'd say that it's still ideal for the Alpinias. Kind of like the Heliconias, they're going to want things warm and humid. I think in the long run, it should be okay, because I'm going to probably put on a milk crate and keep it somewhere right over here where it's right next to the water. It's on the warmest side of the garage. That's going to have to wait a little while, though, because once I get these alocasias potted up, probably tomorrow before I start overcooking, assuming the potting soil should be thawed out by then those are probably going to sit right here, just temporarily, because it's a really warm spot. And I think that that's going to be the best thing for basically re-energizing those alocasias and saying, snap out of it. You're not dying. Everything's okay. Get them to just grow a little bit, get some motion out of them, and then those will go to the back side of the pond, which is where I always used to keep them, and they would do okay back there. Like just well enough to basically tick through the winter time, not necessarily growing like crazy or thriving. It's just getting them through. Once I've done that, the Alpinia will go over here also, so it's going to be much warmer over here. I'm also starting to notice some cold damage on the coconuts. So I was a little bit late to the game bringing these in. I let them take some cold, not frost. I don't think they ever experienced any frost, but I think it was enough. You can kind of look at them and see how some of them are just looking pretty sad. And I remember when I did bring them in, still it took a week to get the heater installed for them also. I expect some dieback on them. It's just one of those things. Coconuts, just like that ginger, they don't like to be inside. But I fear that this is probably the best spot for them. They're not going to be blasted with the heat. You can see there's a lot more airflow over there, but they're still going to be next to the water, which is nice and warm. Going to get some splatter from the water. I don't know, I had this coconut over here last winter, and it did really well. I also had one on that side of the table, and it also did really well. I had been considering maybe getting a heat mat for this table to set underneath the coconut. I think they would appreciate some heat from down below. Something to think about. I don't want to think too long and hard about that, though, because at some point next week, hopefully, I need to come in here and get a lot of the plants that are still sitting on the ground over here. Some of those are going to go over here in front of this table. Not that I couldn't move them when the heat mat comes in. I just want to be sure that if I do something like that, that I spend some time reading about them, because there's going to be a lot of moisture over there, and I don't know, it's just, it always bothers me, the idea of having things on top of a heat mat and then having water pouring on top of them. And I've had plenty of seedling heat mats that specifically say to keep them dry. That might just be a liability thing. See, we all get water on our heat mats sometimes, but these would be sitting directly on the heat mat and being water and everything on them at all times, and I don't think they would. Well, I don't know. I don't think it's going to like electrocute me or anything like that, but I think it would probably trip the breaker all the time, which is a good thing. So if it didn't, then, you might get shocked. Other option would be to get heat cables and wrap them around all the pots. I don't know if I'm going to do that. That seems like a bit much. Also kind of jumping the gun there, right? Because the coconuts I had in here last winter, I had 3 in here last winter. 2 of them did great. 1 of them died. And I know why it died. It's because I set up here on this table thinking that, that's going to be the warmest spot for it. And it was. I think it was way too warm, though, because, 10,000 watt heater, which doesn't blow directly on the table, but right next to it, there's a lot of dry air. So that was my fault. I don't think that's going to be an issue with these being set a little bit further over. The palms over here, that motion, that's from the ceiling fan. So I have 2 of those up there to help blow the warm air down, which I talked about in last week's video when I was setting things up out here, and that really
is working quite well. Just the two of those has been keeping the temperature much more even. I've been checking things out with this thing right here and just, poking it up at the ceiling, see what it says. It says 64, 63. That seems odd. And then down here, 62, 63. See? So that's fantastic, because last year it would be, like 88 up there, and then, sometimes there'd be like a 20-degree difference down here on the ground. And of course, I'm pointing at concrete too. I mean, see, you move this thing around even in the slightest bit, come closer over here towards where the heater blows. That's going up a few degrees. How's the water temperature been? Trying to get this warmed up. 59. Oh, it's not in the water. What's that say? Come on, bring it down the water. What are we getting? That's weird. I don't understand. How's it 57, 59? I think I need a new one of these things. I don't think this is accurate. It is really old. So maybe just disregard everything I was just saying. Point being, the warm air is being blown down. I have a fan down here on the ground and blow cold air up and keep things in motion. I have 2 more of these fans to set up. I don't know if I really need to, though. I guess some extra airflow wouldn't really hurt anything. Just keeps the plants more sturdy. But it can also be a problem too, right? Too much of this can dry them out over time if you don't have enough humidity. So, yeah, again, hey, something else to think about. Part of the fun of the beginning of the year and the grow space is sitting back and going, oh, here are all the things I said I was going to do that might work out, and all the things that probably won't work out. Like maybe having too much airflow. I don't think that's going to be a problem, though. Oh, y'all didn't know about this. I brought in some more of the colocasias. I had brought in one of the Pharaoh's Dreams, and then when I was outside, I think right after I filmed last week's video, I went ahead and pulled up 2 more, and then one little growth from a Leucocasia gigantea, the Thai giants. It had put up just a little baby, one of the ones that got chewed away and eaten by a squirrel. Had one little growth coming up from the impatiens that were dying back, and I thought, okay, I'll go ahead and bring you in and see how you do. And it's starting to put up a new growth, so I guess that it's happy. It's been about a week. They seem okay. I had thought about setting up a tripod so that when I do film things out here this winter, I could be like, hey, Jeff's up here in the corner. Like, how do I do this with you? You can see it right there. I'd be like over there in the corner with stuff down in the background. But then it's a bad look. I spin around. I guess that's better. But I don't know. There's no room. My hands, you can't tell. There's no room. I don't have the lighting for this angle. And it's not a good one either. That's not a good angle anyways. There we go. That's better. There's something else I wanted to talk about. And it's completely escaped my mind. I like the way Freckles looks over there, just peeking out from the corner. Such a handsome plant. The hibiscus last week, they were looking pretty shabby, and thought I should update. Just a little bit of water and some time with some warmth. Looking much better. Gonna look pretty bare because this is iguana food. That's the whole reason I have them. So I'm always pulling leaves and flowers off of them to feed to the iguana and to the tortoise. But they seem to be happy, still blooming. These are all blooms that were set before I brought them in, so that doesn't mean much. But look at the flower on this one. I wasn't even planning on bringing this one in. This is the First Lady. I always want to say Mrs. President, but it's First Lady, which has usually a larger pink flower on it, but with the cooler temperatures, it's giving these really soft orange outlined kind of neon pink coral. It's a very vibrant coral, which is my favorite. I love coral. It's probably one of my favorite colors. Coral and blue, like a nice cerulean. The Crayola cerulean, not the other cerulean. They're not the same. So yeah, that's looking better. There were a few other things that were not looking too great when I brought them in that are perking up. The Xanthosoma got a full cut back when I brought it in. Opening up new leaves already. The Lutea, it wasn't looking great for like a month before I even brought it in. This main growth on it may not make it, but it's putting out some new leaves from these little offshoots here. Looks like both of these offshoots. Oh no, it's a banana leaf. I saw this little piece of green right here, and I thought that was a new leaf, but it's not. All right, well, at least one of them is going to put up something new. I may end up having to come in and divide those out. I did spray it in the middle with the fungicide just like I did with the others. Aeroids are looking a lot happier now that they've had some water. This guy right here. I had said I didn't know if it was going to keep blooming, but it's still blooming. It hadn't really started blooming. Does it smell? How's the smell? You smell it? You can't smell it. It's very sweet. It's sweet and fruity. The Tahitian Flame, Hedychium. Love the flowers on this one. I've been growing this for years, since the first time I've gotten them to flower. It smells so good, and the flowers last a very long time. That inflow back there, that had flowers coming out of it for probably maybe 4 to 6 weeks, something like that, which is why I didn't want to just come in and cut this one back and set it for storage. I say for storage. A lot of the stuff that I do, the cool, dry storage, just go underneath this table here. I don't want to do that when it's still seeming so happy. And it's got a flower on it. I don't want to wait and let it do its thing so I can smell those flowers. It smelled very nice out here this morning. I could smell it throughout the entire grow space. Oh, the Mandula Pothos. I didn't give any updates on this the entire summer because it was tucked back underneath some other things, but it's finally decided to grip onto this plank that I put here and getting some kind of larger, stiffer leaves on it. In order to keep this one climbing, I'm going to have to remember to get this wet on a regular occasion when I'm out here, so I might need to figure something out there with maybe wicking cord and keeping it next to the water or something like that. So that's the disadvantage to not doing a moss pole when you're not in a really humid environment, is that there's nothing really to draw the pothos to stick. And when they're outside, there's moisture. I have misters and irrigation all over the place, so that wood kept getting wet, and it would grab onto it, latch onto it really well. Whereas in the grow space, there's just not as much of that, so it doesn't latch on the same. So I have to remember to stay on top of that. Also, I staked this tie up and just moved on and didn't even talk about how freaking amazing this plant is looking. Look at that. Look at this leaf. Look at it. It's huge. Absolutely massive. This is its most recent leaf. I haven't pulled it up all the way. I think that I should do that slowly as to not snap it. But I think this is the most I've had it pulled up in a couple of years, because I had a moment for like a moment, like a 5-year span, where I was afraid to really bend this or move it around very much, because I was like, oh no, I might snap it. But I was messing with it, trying to get it up off the ground. I was like, well, who cares if I snap it? Whatever. You can just stick it back in the soil and get it going again. Because I was talking about needing to chop it anyways. So if I were to have snapped it, oh well, then I just stick it back in the soil. Wouldn't be the end of the world. So I had a little bit more courage because of that mentality to pull it up nice and tight. This used to hang a few feet that way, and then the whole thing would want to tip. But it's I don't know, it seems okay. It doesn't seem like it's going to snap. It's been a day and a half, and there's not even that much tension in here. So I'm saying that I think that maybe if I wait a few weeks, I can keep pulling it and pulling it. I just don't want to overdo it at one time, and maybe go ahead and get this growth to be more upright. It doesn't matter though, right? It's a monstera, a tie. It's going to keep just flopping all over the place and going wherever it wants to. But it's just gotten so freaking big. It takes up this entire space over here. That leaf up there, it's, I don't know, good 8 feet tall, probably. Width-wise, I don't know, 8 to 12. And it doesn't have leaves on it that are broken. It did have some damage, as you can see, from being moved around. But that just happens. It's all right. It's not great, because it's not going to put out new leaves from the stem. It might, eventually put out some more growth that keeps going. But it's not just going to put up new foliage. So if you lose a whole bunch, you just end up with a big long stick, and that's why you need to chop them. So it would be more ideal if it didn't have that tattered leaf on it, but I say it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. This leaf right here got some sunburn on it, but it's still so pretty. No, it's not. It's not so pretty. It's looked better. It's that drought. That's what happens. That drought over the summer. Even the monstera struggled because of it. I feel like, that's enough. I talked enough. Probably make sure that the video is long enough for people who like the longer videos. It's good to give some updates, because since this is going to be a two-parter, I probably won't remember when I pick back up with all the things that are going to continue on from here, to give updates with things that were going on last week. So, I hope you enjoyed the, 45 however minutes long of chaos that you've had today. All right, so next week in part 2, here's what might happen. No guarantees. Greenhouse is coming in the mail tomorrow, hopefully. And if the forecast on Saturday, the day this video comes out, is still being wishy-washy, we'll go ahead and get that set up and move the cold hardy, but not cold hardy enough plants into that greenhouse, probably wrap lights around the mule palms or something like that. Get these guys potted up and taken care of. And then, I don't know, just whatever else. Maybe do some propping, who knows. Main thing is just trying to protect the plants from that cold snap that's coming through. The thing with the greenhouse, I'm not that hyped about the one that I ordered. I'll talk more about it when it comes in the mail. Although there is a potential chance that when it comes in the mail, I may just ask my brother-in-law to go outside and set it up since I'll be inside cooking. So I don't know how much that would even be filmed. It's like the canopy style ones. Again, I'll try and be as detailed about it as I can when it comes to the mail. But it's not necessarily the one that I wanted. The one that I have wanted wouldn't be here for another 2 or 3 weeks. So I just got the one that would get here the fastest that was close to the one that I want. So if it looks like the forecast isn't going to be that bad, then I'm not going to set it up. So I'm going to send it back and get the one that I really want. We just have to wait and see what's going to happen there. Is this just your normal... I got moved inside, so I'm throwing a fit. Kind of yellow? I think it is. And no, I don't plan on keeping this dichondra right here. I just haven't figured it out yet. Feeling better, though, like just those alocasias and getting all the bananas and everything cut. Well, we go outside. Outside, yeah, as I was saying. And see, I largely wanted to get those bananas and everything cut back because of the cold and get them out of there chopped up before they get mushy. Just makes life a lot easier. So there it is. So sad. It was a nice summer. Had a lot of color, but now it's over. Got the gingers cut back too. One of them is still blooming. Some of the ones that are back there in the window still have like significant blooms on them. Look at that. I can put it in the vase. It's not going to do much, but I could try. Okay, just felt appropriate to go outside since I had talked all the stuff that needed to be done out there. That's what the garden looks like now. It's that time of year. It's always sad cutting everything back, but it's also a nice feeling to have it done. Alright, so everybody's doing well, having a great day, great life, and everything's going absolutely beautifully for you. Is that a stink bug? Is that what's going on up there? Yeah, little stink bug. Comment down below, say hi, what's going on in your gardens with your houseplants. I assume a lot of y'all, those ones who aren't further south, not doing much in your gardens. And hope everybody's making it through this little Arctic blast thing. I'm right in an area where it's like, we're going to get a little bit of snow. They're saying 70% chance. Nothing that's going to be a problem. And then it might get dreadfully cold, or it might just like dip into the 20s for a few days. We don't really know what's going to happen. It's right on the edge, but I know a lot of other people East Coast and Northeast and everybody up around the lakes. It might be pretty extreme. So I hope everybody's staying safe. The roads aren't too bad. Electricity's good. Just stay nice and warm. And everybody had a good holiday. For those of you who celebrate, hope that it was nice and you have a lot to be thankful for. All right. As always, and most importantly, everybody, keep on growing. Bye-bye.